Karma comes as a reaction to past experiences. Everything that you experience in life leaves an impression in your mind. Those impressions build one upon the other. Some impressions that are traumatic or very joyous may leave very strong impressions. Situations that occur over and over and over leave the strongest impressions. And those impressions, as they begin to form within the mind, become beliefs and ideas upon which we define our existence, our personal view of the world around us and who we are. The cause of suffering lies in the separation of self and the divine, the one eternal, immortal existence interwoven in the play of creation. We and all that we are, and all the experiences we have, all the reactions we have to our experiences, is all part of an integrated whole of life. But when we feel the separation from that whole, and we begin to identify instead with these reactions of mind, with these karmic patterns that form, and we believe them to be ourselves, and we believe that who we are, what we are, is defined by those experiences we have had and our reactions to those experiences, whether the experiences are in past lives or in this life. They form the wounds inside us, the guilt, the fear, the avenues of expression that we enjoy, and who we think we are. So those, when lying within the mind latent, are called sanskaras, and when expressed, called karma. Those reactions, those mental impressions that begin to formulate an individual identity come together to form the ego, the sense of self, the asmita, the sense of self, defined as separate from all else, defined as your body, your beliefs, your mind. And in that definition, there is a fall from grace, a fall from the sense of unitary wholeness into a separate individuality. And that is the very seed of suffering. Out of that seed grows the plant and finally the tree. Out of that sense of I and other grows the feeling of either inadequacy or superiority, and out of that grows all of the various assumptions and beliefs, the guilt, the fear, the struggle to make yourself big and to survive, to cling to life, to have good health, to have happiness, to be respected by others, to have all-around good life. These desires begin to form, taking the unique expression of your karmic patterns, your sanskaras latent in the deep deep within your mind that form your understanding of who you are. From these forms the sense of self, which you express in the world and in which you experience joy and suffering, in which you experience grasping for what you need, desiring what you want, and fearing what you may not have, fearing old age, sickness, loss of loved ones, of things you value. So, in this clinging and needing and fearing and loss, you are caught in a painful cycle that cannot be resolved within the cycle. And how it plays out depends upon your samskaras, your personal accumulation of reactions of mind, how this unique experience of individuality occurs. But in it there is a painful cycle of fear and clinging, of needing and losing. And it cannot be resolved by acquiring the things that you want. You get the things that you want and you can take a deep breath and you feel happy for a moment that you've acquired everything that you want. But soon, that acquisition goes away. It is tempered by time, whether it be 5 minutes, an hour, a day, a year, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it be, is sooner or later, time will remove it. All things of this life are transitory. And so all of the efforts that you make can secure you for a time, but they do not resolve the fundamental problem. It cannot be resolved on the level of the ego, the level of the mind, the level of the bodily needs. You cannot acquire enough to resolve this, for sooner or later you will face death. Sooner or later all of your ambitions will come to an end. So the only real solution to this painful cycle of fear and need and acquisition and loss, the only real solution lies not within the process, but beneath the process, in the cause of the process itself. And that cause is the fundamental separation of the sense of self from all life, all existence, from the infinite. That sense that you are somehow cut off, apart, separate, that is the root problem, the root need behind all of the other needs, the root loss behind all of the other losses. It is the fall from grace. That loss is the loss of your wholeness of being, your connection to your divine self. When you sink beneath the duality of acquiring and losing, when you sink beneath that, aversion and attraction, when you sink beneath it, you find the pure, calm waters of the deep self. And in that self, you discover there is only one self. That all these things you thought you are, separate from everyone else, is only a play in the mind. That in fact, it plays in the mind of the cosmic self. And that your very existence is a play in the mind of that cosmic self. Like the dream character is a play within your mind. So you exist within the mind of the infinite. And the play of creation, the dance, the lila goes on playing. The only problem is you have come to a false assumption that you are separate and that your life is apart from the whole, that you are not composed of the infinite, that you are an individual separate from the infinite. But when you sink into the deep waters, the realization comes, the true nature of your existence becomes evident. And you realize there is no individual self. There is only the true deep self of being. And that your self is the same self as all the other people, as the animals, as the plants. For it is all within the cosmic existence, a play within the mind of the infinite. Your very mind is the mind of God. It is a created expression of God. Your very thoughts are the thoughts of God. Your karma that you believe belongs to you is playing out in the dance of creation, in the mind of the infinite. None of it belongs to you. You yourself are like the dream character in the mind of the infinite. There is no separation between you and eternal being. The duality causes suffering. Suffering is real, but the cause of suffering is a misunderstanding. You know the word sin? It has its meaning, its origin in the word, the meaning of misinterpretation, misunderstanding. So you have a misunderstanding. That is the original sin. This misunderstanding. And out of it comes the feeling of separate self, the need to acquire, and the fear of loss. But when you recognize that your nature is indeed immortal, that you are not, in fact, separate, your mind belongs to the infinite, your heart belongs to the infinite, your very existence is in the mind of the infinite. You have no separation. Then you realize, like the drop of water in the sea, where is there to go? For you live within the infinite. And when the body passes away, we will continue to live within the infinite. You are not the body. The body is a temporal creation. The mind even is a temporal creation, the external mind. The deep mind is immortal being, linked to the cosmic mind. The self of yourself is eternal. You are eternal. The duality is a dream. It is the original misunderstanding, misinterpretation, the original sin. So awaken from the dream, O dreamer. Feel your immortal being. Be wise. Recognize yourself. Recognize the self of yourself, the life of your life, the breath of your breath, and know you are one with the eternal, immortal being. Let love be realized and fulfilled. All right? Namaskar.